Have you ever met someone and it just felt electric? Intense, overwhelming, and maybe just a little too perfect? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really powerful manipulation tactic that loves to disguise itself as a fairy tale romance. We're talking about love bombing. I mean, we've all seen it in the movies, right? These huge, grand gestures, the nonstop attention, the hero who just sweeps someone off their feet. And yeah, it's a great fantasy. But as this quote from the Berkeley Wellbeing Institute points out, in the real world, when something seems way too good to be true, well, it usually is. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How can you possibly tell the difference between a real, amazing whirlwind romance and something much, much darker? Where's the line between passionate and just plain manipulative? And this isn't some rare thing. The scale of this is kinda staggering. Get this, 70% of adults between 18 and 55 say they've experienced this kind of behavior. 70. So this is a dynamic that's really important for all of us to understand. So let's start at the very beginning with that feeling, that completely intoxicating head over heels feeling. Why does being love-bombed feel so incredibly good, even when some little part of your brain might be screaming a warning? Well, it's literally brain chemistry. It's not just in your head. When someone is showering you with praise and affection, your brain gets flooded with dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. And it creates this incredible sense of euphoria. You feel seen, you feel special, you feel like you're the center of the universe. And that feeling, it's powerful. It's almost addictive. But here's the thing about that feel-good rush. It's just the surface. It's the bait. Because underneath, there's often a very deliberate tactic of play. And this is where we need to shift our thinking from romance to straight-up manipulation. So here's the official definition. Love bombing isn't just someone being really, really into you. No, it's the strategic use of affection as a tool. And the most important word in that whole sentence is intent. The goal isn't connection. The goal is control. And this is the playbook. A love bomber isn't just being romantic. They are an architect building a trap. They create this perfect little bubble, this alternative reality for the two of you to slowly cut you off from everyone else. They get you so used to their grand gestures that you start to need them, to feel like you owe them. It's all about making you dependent. So if you take one thing away, let it be this. A true, passionate whirlwind romance can happen, for sure, but it's built on a real connection, on mutual respect. Love bombing, that's a psychological game. It's a strategy to gain power. The actions might look similar on the outside, but the motive underneath is totally different. And what's really wild is that this isn't random. This kind of relationship tends to follow a very predictable three-stage cycle. And once you understand this pattern, you can start to see it for what it is. And here they are, the three stages: idealization, devaluation, and discard. This isn't just a timeline of a relationship. It's a calculated cycle. It's designed to first hook you, then to control you by keeping you off balance, and finally to abandon you when you're no longer serving their purpose. Okay, so stage one, idealization. This is that dopamine rush we were talking about. This is the bombing. They tell you you're their soulmate. They say they've never felt this way about anyone, ever. In their eyes, you are absolute perfection, and it feels incredible. This is where they build that emotional dependency. But then, once they feel like they've got you hooked, the script flips. Welcome to stage two, devaluation. All of a sudden, that praise is mixed with little criticisms. The affection that was once constant is now used as a weapon, a reward for doing what they want, and it's withheld as a punishment. They might get weirdly angry if you make plans with friends. And this is when the gaslighting often starts, making you question your own sanity. And finally, stage three, discard. The second you start to push back, to set a boundary, or maybe you just stop feeding their ego in the way they want, they're gone. And we're not talking about a normal breakup. It's often abrupt, cold, and they will take zero responsibility. It's a final power move designed to leave you blindsided, confused, and completely heartbroken. Okay, so that's the pattern. How do you protect yourself? How do you spot this before you get caught up in that whole cycle? Let's get really practical here and talk about the warning signs. You have got to pay attention to these things. Are they talking about moving in together after like 3 dates? Do the gifts and compliments feel a little excessive, almost like they're trying to buy you? Do they get mad or guilt trip you if you don't text back immediately? And a big one, do they try to pull you away from your friends and family? But honestly, the biggest red flag of all is just trust your gut. If a relationship makes you feel more overwhelmed and anxious than it does safe and secure, listen to that feeling.
So to finish up, it is so important to contrast this whole manipulative tactic with what a healthy, real connection actually looks and feels like.
And this chart really just lays it all out, doesn't it? A real connection grows over time. It doesn't just explode out of nowhere. It respects your boundaries. It doesn't try to knock them down. A genuine partner encourages you to be independent. They don't try to isolate you. The whole foundation is just different. One is built on trust and authenticity. The other is a fantasy built to create dependency. Ultimately, the most powerful defense you have against this is a solid sense of your own self-worth. It's knowing deep down that you deserve a love that builds you up and makes you feel safe, a love that feels like a calm harbor, not a constant storm. And so I'll just leave you with this question to think about, because when you strip away all the grand gestures, the intense declarations, and all the noise, the health of any relationship really boils down to this. Is it a partnership built on mutual respect? Or is it a dynamic that's really driven by one person's need for control?